training sessions. So few will be like, for example, aggressive participants. So moreover, the aggressive participants will always raise hand or always tend to answer it. So how to handle those participants? That's also one of kind of art. So there are one technique called round robin technique. So round robin technique, what happens? Suppose there are 10 participants. In that, participant X is answering, always answering most number of time. Whatever the query has been raised, Mr. X is answering every time. So what we can do, we can ask that participant to sit and answer in the end. So they are again that comes to the various questioning techniques what Pratna was adding to that, like PPP technique, 3P technique, pose, uh, pick and pose, pick and what was it? I forgot. Pose,
Sorry?
pause, your
No, no, no. It was not post. Hold on. It was
it was
post, pause. Hello?
yeah.
Yeah, it was pause, pause, and place.
Okay. Okay. So
So pose the question, pause for everybody to absorb the question, and then place the question to the then place the onus to answer the question on the quieter members of the group.
okay. So it's something more similar what I would say, pose, pause and pick. So pick
Yeah,
means we have to choose the participant by his or her
yeah,
name.
yeah.
So those are the techniques to handle with the aggressive participants. Then the
Mm.
second thing comes the clueless participants. So there will be participants who will be in their own world. They won't be having any idea and they won't be answering and they won't be participating during the program. So how
Yeah,
we need to engage them? That's the other approach.
yeah.
And then there will be certain complainer participants who will be complaining each and every time or who will be denying what you are answering it. So
Yeah.
that's the third approach how to tackle these participants. And that's all means right now I'm not getting.
Yeah. So, thanks, Himanshu. So, one technique you told was robin technique, wherein if one of the participants is answering all the questions, we ask them to wait and answer at the end once everybody
Yeah,
has given their input. Right? The other one was three P's that I had already said. So,
yeah,
you are saying pose, pause, and pick, right? So that is
yeah,
that, and the third one was the clueless participants, and then
yeah.
you talked about the hecklers. So the last category that you spoke about are actually known as difficult trainees and they called hecklers. There could be any type of trainees. When we talk about difficult trainees, they could be people who want all the attention on themselves, so they ask difficult questions or questions which are very very difficult for others to answer, which is out of context as well. So that is that type of question, and there are type of trainees which do not want to participate at all. Maybe they were just participating in the training for the heck of it. They have been nominated by their managers without even discussing the need for them. So then they are those type of trainees. So if there are trainees who are not participating enough, the way to manage them is to have a discussion with them at the end of the session and understand what the problem is. Maybe they were not given a choice but to sit that through that training. Okay, so that is there. So from example perspective, how do we manage questions and participants? There's one technique that I always use in my training session, which is the company. So in company, what we do is we divide the participants into groups of 5 to 6 people. And when we divide those groups, we do not give the people the choice to choose their company partners. We tell them that who are the people who will be in one group. So if I have 35 trainees, if maybe I'll select five groups, 7 participants each, and we give them a situation to enact maybe or something like that. So in that way, if there are 4 or 5 participants in the training who are very very efficient, who grasp contents really well, and who are always putting forth new point of views, we divide equally in each of the groups. So when they sit a group, the person who's actually good at the training concepts, he helps in driving the others to the point as well. And when we give them role plays, he would give everybody pointers and help them to arrive at the ideal situation, how the role should be, enacted or played. So that is one of the techniques, one of the examples that we can use.
What is a technique called?
We call it company in our in our organization. We've just derived this term. I'm sure there's another professional term for it or more technical term for it, but we just call it the company.
The company. Okay. So
Yeah, I mean it's just to attract the trainees' attention. So we design small companies within the training group, and we give them the situations.
okay. Sounds
Okay,
interesting.
so that is one. The other way, so this is when you want to handle trainees and questions in a group manner. The other way is in an individual manner. So the one that you said, post, pause, and pick. So there's another one which we use as rapid fire. So this is a way of, this is a way of including all the participants as well. Plus, it also helps us in asking, questions which the participants could not come up with themselves, because there are a lot of situations where participants are not able to, formulate their questions, or they're not able to articulate their questions well. Okay, so in that case, what we do is we usually take a sponge ball or some kind of prop with us, and we just let the participants sit in a scattered manner. You pop that ball to two participants randomly, one by one. You ask a question, and the participants have to answer within a span of maybe 10 seconds or something. So it also shows the participants' ability to think on their feet and how well they have grasped the concepts. At the same time, we are also able to include the participants who are less, involved in the training during the entire program. So this actually is more of a spontaneous thing. The previous one that I said, the company, is more of a planned thing, because you have to observe the participants, you have to prepare the situations. So these two types of techniques I usually use in my organization, in my training.
Oh, that is that's like really good. And
So
I think yeah, Himanshu, go ahead.
yeah, so Pratna, just like the terminology which you have used, the company. So is it
Yeah.
something similar to the World Cafe technique? The World Cafe technique where the brainstorming happens within a subgroup of the
Yes,
team.
you can say that. I mean, it is kind of that.
Okay.
The ones which you use in management programs, the terminology that I shared is basically the one that we use internally. But yes, we can go ahead with the more standardized ones.
So we can use it World Cafe,
Yeah.
World Cafe, right?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I think
Yeah.
this the thing World Cafe would be
Yeah,
one
I know. I did
example.
not research it much, because I thought that, let's just go ahead with whatever we have in our mind right now. But yes, thanks, Himanshu, for putting that terminology out for us.
Even the round robin, what Himanshu was telling, that is a very wonderful example.
Yeah.
Because I think yesterday I was talking about a movie about the 12 Angry Men. So there, where they extensively use the round robin. So as
Hmm.
I can
Okay.
as an example, but then a round robin is basically nothing. Nothing different than having a group discussion across a big table where everybody gets an opportunity to speak, and then so that way whoever is actually silent also gets an opportunity to speak without absolutely any interruption. So, so that will be the round
Hmm.
robin. I think ideology behind round robin.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think we've got four examples. I think we just need one more framework for the last example, and then we will be done with this particular question.
Yeah,
And
so round robin was there, 3P, World Cafe, Rapid Fire, and
So what is also coming to mind? Relay technique. So relay could be similar to rapid fire.
yeah,
What happens in relay? Suppose uh, in a sequence we'll be asking like
yeah.
the relay marathon happens. The same way we'll be asking the questions. So from one participant to second participant, then third, Like that, it will be moving to all the participants, and in the end, trainer will be paraphrasing the answers.
Yeah, I think a similar kind of technique we also use, which is an extension of this. So we ask one question and we ask the employees to answer it in one word. Okay, so I mean, again, it cannot be applied to all questions, or maybe in one sentence, not to elaborate much. So that type of we use. For example, um, I want all of you to give me one application or one technique of increasing productivity in your current setup, right? So everyone will have to give one example. Now we can jot all that down. It's more of a brainstorming session, but it's again a relay question, which has one question, but everybody has to give an answer.
I think this is
Yeah.
actually very, very similar to brainstorming, because brainstorming
Yeah,
also where everybody gets an opportunity to actually contribute, and
yeah,
so and then and, but then not looking at the quality of a particular question, but just looking at the quantity of the number of ideas and the questions which are actually coming in, and then later
hmm.
that we could have a process of actually sitting and then finding out which really works out, and what the team wants to actually address, and then go and then probably picking the best question to get the best solution.
Yeah. This
So
actually is known as multiple relay questioning.
that, I think that's how we should name it as
Yeah, it's technically called multiple relay questioning.
relay question. So is there anything you'd like to tell us, Redishri, from prop?
Yeah, I have Prarthana, I have one doubt
Yeah,
in this.
yeah,
There is a in trainees there are some people complaining, gaining the attention like that. So
yeah.
similarly, if now not for complaining or not for gaining attention, if people by naturally they'll be having like arguing, defending always
Mm-hmm.
by nature. So those kind of people, how we can manage like that? Is there anything technique like that?
Yeah, so that's what I said. I guess, oh, you were not there in the previous call, is it? So the way you to handle this is that when you design your training program, you have to decide as a trainer whether you want to have a spontaneous discussion and question answer session, or you want to have it at the end of the each of the topics. Okay. So for example, if you notice in the first half of your training that there are a couple of people who are asking unnecessary questions, and even if they know the answer, they're just asking questions just to get attention, and just to show off that I know things. In that case, what you can do is you can tweak your training methodology a little bit. So you can actually if you were allowing spontaneous questions earlier, you can limit it to the end of the topic. Okay, and in that way, and then you can also limit that, to start with, we will give two questions every participant if it is a small batch. Okay, so you can say, okay, so just to finish up, we will have two questions each participant, and whatever extra questions you have, you can list them down, and we can handle those in a separate Q&A session at the end of the complete session. So that ways, people will focus on the most important questions that they have in mind, and if they really want to ask those. And second, if they have any other questions, you can have a list of those and eliminate the repeated questions, and then have a more concentrated discussion when the entire day's training is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even
Okay.
this is something more related to like the parking the question, because the questions which are coming
Yeah.
during the session, we are asking the participants to park the questions and we'll answering it in the end of the workshop.
Yeah, because in some situations, what happens is there are people who start asking questions ahead of the topic that is being discussed. So we can always
Yeah.
say that the same thing is coming ahead in the training. So maybe we can wait for that time for that topic to come up, and it will automatically answer your question.
Yeah.
We should also just a thought. We should also understand what kind of a training program is this, because if let us say if it is a technical training program, then you would probably want to address that question immediately, because
Yeah.
that particular question is not answered, then the people will not group may not understand what comes ahead.
The relevances. Yeah. But Rakesh, that is why when we were discussing earlier how to handle questions, I said that you have to design, you have to place your question answer session depending upon what kind of training you have. So if it is a technical training, people are working on their SIP systems and laptops, and they're using some software.
Yeah.
Obviously, you cannot wait till the end of the program.
Yeah.
So depending upon your trainees, depending upon and again, if your trainees are executive level employees, you would not ask them for a separate Q&A session because those people might not want to wait. So
Hello,
that
guys, I'm
means
sorry I'm interrupting. Hello guys, I'm sorry I'm interrupting.
no problem.
Just now only I've logged in. I was finding some issues. So I hope we have started off the discussion, and I think we're discussing question number 2
Rekha,
regarding the icing on the cake, right?
We were actually closing off.
yeah, Rekha, we've just started off, so I think you can just listen to the conversation, so you will have an understanding about what is it that we're talking about.
See, Prakash, I think so we're discussing about question number 2, right? Like how to manage the participants and how to manage the questions, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
right now we are discussing about the examples, and
So may I request what all what you people have discussed? I'm requesting you. Can you just give me a few inputs, please?
yeah, so that's what. So you'll have to just listen to the examples. That's what we're discussing. So that's
We're
what.
discussing about the examples. Okay.
Yeah. So just hold on.
Okay, one thing I would like to ask here when we are talking about managing questions, is it the questions that the participants are throwing to the trainers or the trainers are asking the trainees?
This is both. We are talking about both. And
Both, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
actually, Rekha, I have a recording of this particular discussion. I will send you the recording, right, so that you can just go through it. Because this entire session is only 40 minutes and 20 minutes is over. So we have just another 20 minutes. I'll send you the recording so that on everything that you missed out.
7:15 you started, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I think you should just you can actually go ahead and you can discuss about explaining about the technical as well as about asking the questions.
You were discussing about a few examples, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay, because I think we have to give 5 examples, no? 5 situations.
absolutely we need to be we need to give five examples, and and these examples have to be in the framework of looking at in terms of what is the kind of tool that that you're going to be using. The examples have to be very realistic, and the examples also have to have relevance. Here they're asked you for suitable examples. So rather than just mentioning the technique, so we were just discussing about the technique in which this particular example will actually be maybe typed in. But then rather than writing the technique, we will just be writing the scenario in where this particular technique will actually be used. So that will be
Exactly.
yeah. So that will
Exactly.
be create. And I think Redishri was asking a doubt. Yeah.
So in that also, I have doubt in that. Now, can we tell the particular trainee? So you can give a chance to others to others to ask their questions like like that. We can request or we can inform them in a polite way that
See,
give others
Give
to
chance to others.
absolutely.
yeah.
So my point of view is, see, having having a particular training session or maybe facilitating a session is ideally to one is with respect to having maybe a training material which has already been prepared, like what Pratana was telling, where during the training design itself, we need to understand what kind of training is it. Whether it's a technical training, it's a non-technical training, is it a soft skill training, or is it just a update, or is it going to be some essential services like fire training or safety training. So first now during this particular training program, so now how are you going to be placing the questions, and how are we going to be managing these particular questions have to be decided when this particular process is being designed. So and a very classic example what Pratna was giving is that if it's going to be a technical training program, then students need to the facilitator needs to encourage a lot of questions coming from the participants, so that they don't have any doubts and the material is completely being understood. But then if you're just looking at a facilitation of just brainstorming, at that particular time, more more of questions, more of answering is actually required. But then if let us say we are facilitating a training program which is maybe related to a process oriented training, so that is pretty very concrete. So a process will not change because you already decided the process, maybe a policy or a process in organization. And so now you're just talking about a particular process to this particular group. So in those kind of scenarios, if a question comes up, you can take the liberty of parking the question aside, like what Himanshu was telling. So you can actually write the question aside, and you can actually park it, and we can go ahead and take the liberty of telling them, saying that we will address these questions right before the end of this particular session, because we know what is the agenda and what is the end of this particular training program. That now the end of the training program is to deliver the content, make sure that everybody understands the process, and if there is any clarification, the understanding, which is basically questions, it should be answered maybe 10-15 minutes before the session is getting closed. And well, apart from that, there is a different training program, more with respect to communication and with respect to say in terms of sensitivity training,
What soft skill training you're talking about?
where these kind of training programs are largely related to more of questioning rather than less of material. So when we say more of questionings, so a sensitivity training or maybe a behavioral training program will not have too many, that is, it will have a lot of questions and the content will actually be very less. So it is more about trying to help somebody to communicate better. So only by asking questions and giving the right answers, we'll have the right kind of. So these were just my frameworks about this particular answer. So is there anything you want to add, Himanshu, to this particular question?
No, not from my side now.
Okay, I think Redishri, anything you want to add?
No, yeah, it is clear.
I think Pratna is clear. So I think Rekha, is there anything that you would like to probably ask?
So, Prakash, what I've understood is primarily when they say about the example, it is primarily related to the different scenarios, right? So, depending upon the kind of training program, we are going to handle the participants as well as the questions thrown by the trainer or by the trainee. I mean, as you said, depending upon the kind of training program.
Absolutely.
So, while, yeah, so that's what so accordingly, we can give different types of examples wherein sometimes the questions by the trainers will be more, and in some cases the questions from the trainee will be more. So we can accordingly make few scenarios and we can present it. Am I right?
And your scenarios have to be very realistic. So so that's when it will really work out. And
okay.
I think these are the 5 examples what we discussed, and the other 4 parts of this particular question. And I think just by answering the first 3 parts, we should be able to fill at least about 1,000 to about 1,300, 1,400 words. And maybe the examples each, if 200 words example for I should be able to fill up another maybe 800 words. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think this is good enough.
Okay.
So
Yes.
so guys, we have another roughly 15 more minutes. So shall we look at the next question, or do you want to connect back tomorrow?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Do you want to look at the next question?
Prakash?
Yeah, I
Prakash,
mean,
Okay, sure. So let's look at the next question. So
yeah, Prakash, just one request. Prakash, one request.
Yeah.
Yeah, the part that I missed, I mean the 15-20 minutes that I missed, my only request is if you can just send me the recording.
Yeah. I can. I will put it up
That would be
online.
really great.
Yeah, I'll put it up online. So for whoever missed, it'll be helpful for them. So
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
yeah.
So we are proceeding to question number 3, right?
Yeah. So right now we are proceeding to paper number 6, and
Okay.
so under paper number 6, we are going to be proceeding to question number 1.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So back to assignments, and so anybody would like to take the liberty of reading the question, please, so that
Yeah, I'll do. Hello.
yeah, go ahead.
Prepare a detailed session plan for a short duration, 1 or 2 days long program. It should contain program profile, schedule for the program for each session, title of the session, the objectives of the session, contents for the session, list of subtopics and activities in the right sequence, methodology, equipment and resource required.
Yeah, so I think first we need to break this particular question down. So that is preparing a detailed session plan of the short duration for 1 or 2 days program. It should contain. So basically, it's already split up. So now we're looking at a program profile. So now an example of a program profile would look like any.
We can.
Any ideas about how a program profile will look like?
What do they mean by program profile here?
So I think a
Is it the synopsis of what we are trying to achieve out of it? By
exactly,
any chance?
exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
think
what is the purpose? What is the scope? Maybe how many participants will be there? Maybe a short synopsis on that.
exactly. I think a program profile will ideally look ideally be maybe an index of the particular profile. So if somebody would like to actually join the profile, join the training room, so they should be able to get the complete details about that particular training profile in terms of what is it the subject going to be, how, like what is the duration, and in terms of what is the subject which will be actually take ahead, how many participants will be there, and whether is it an in-house training or is it a what kind of models actually will actually be used, whether uh, are we going to be using say, is it going to be a management trainee, or whether it's going to be a senior executive training program, or whether it's just going to be a career upgradation upgrading training program. So I think a program profile will actually contain this, and
Okay. So just to add to this, Prakash. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so it looks more like a training design. I mean, what all you said as of now, program profile, it actually comes in the designing of the overall design of a training program. I mean, starting from the objectives, I mean, why we need a training program, to the content, to the target audience, and the learning environment. I mean, that's what
No.
somewhere. I mean,
No, Rekha. So that will actually come for. So see, there are three parts of this detailed session plan that they've asked for. The first is program profile, then is schedule for the program, which will have the contents. What will be the different? So if it is a 2-day program, so see, every training has some milestones. Okay, so we have whatever training you choose, you have to divide it into maybe 2 or 3 milestones depending upon what is the learning you are intending for the participants out of this training program. Now, those milestones, what will be your different sessions for to achieve these 2 or 3 milestones? That will come in the schedule of program, wherein you will write on day 1 how many minutes you'll spend on this particular topic, how many minutes you'll spend on this particular topic, and each of this topic, how will you drive through the message. So it might have one activity, it might have an one hands-on activity, it might have a theory session. So breakup of that session you will write. That will all come for schedule for the program. Then for each session, you have to write that what is the title of the session, what is the objective, what are the different content. So if you're saying that you're spending 45 minutes on theory for a particular topic, uh, 25 minutes of 20 minutes of lab session and 10 minutes of Q&A session. Then in that way, 35 or 45 minutes of theory, what are the actual topics that you're covering? Okay, and then the methodology, that what is the mix of different training techniques that you're using, and at the end the equipment and the training aids required. So what I understand of training profile is that maybe whenever you start a training, the first thing is by why do we have a training? Because there's a problem at hand, there's some kind of behavior change that we require, there's some kind of improvement that we're looking forward to. So that will be just a summary of your problem statement. Okay, that why is this training required, what is the intended change that you are planning to see by the end of this training session. Okay, so that will be the first part of the training profile. Then will be what is your target audience, so that if you see is not covered anywhere else in it's not covered in the schedule of the program, it's not covered in point C. So in point A there will be a summary of the problem statement. Then there will be what is your target group, whether it is the executive employees, whether it is mid career management, whether it is new joiners, whether this is new managers. What is the experience profile of the participants again? So if it is executive level, it should be 15 plus, 20 plus, whatever is your take on that. If it is freshers, then it may be 1 or 2 plus years. So depending upon that, the experience of the participants. Now the experience profile of the participants. So you can probably give a brief of that. Most of the professionals are from maybe healthcare industry, having an experience of 15 plus years. The most of the people are from manufacturing. Maybe 20% are from the manufacturing, 30% are from the management. So that way you can give a breakup of your training participants. What will be the number of participants? And then what are the skills that you are looking forward to improve, just in one line. Okay, then you can give a small this thing, what do you say, the journey of the training, that how long the training will be. And yeah, and how do you plan to go ahead by that? I mean, when you talk about the profile, you also talk about how will you deliver this training. So I'm not talking about the pedagogy or andragogy here, I'm talking about what will be the pre-training support, or what will be your pre-training activities. Then will be your training, which will come in the other two top points, and then will be your post-training support. So this is the training journey. So whenever you design a training journey, you say pre-training, training, and post-training. So what are the activities you will do to ensure that whatever training you have given is actually being used, is being implemented, and being transferred to rest of the employees, and is being used in a positive manner. So that is called sustainment actually. Post-training is called sustainment of the training. And then the training part is called the experience of the training, and pre-training is called awareness. So it's a 3-step training delivery process that is called awareness, experience, and sustainment. So in profile, I believe these 3 things we have to give in brief.
Absolutely.
Is it too much?
No. This is because I was just also just looking at a couple of other things just to add on. The we will also be have to input the information about whether what kind of a training program is this, whether is it an online training program, or is it
Yeah, training mode. Yeah.
is it a classroom training program, and then what is the the whether do people get an opportunity to do a face-to-face networking, and is there a membership association along with this? That means whether is it does it follow a particular curriculum, or is it just a one-time training program? And I think there will also be informations about in terms of, is there going to be any guest who's going to be coming in terms of somebody who would like to take just a small part of a session of a particular training, and then whether usually it's somebody, it's either a department head, or or it could be maybe an external person who's a subject matter expert, who's actually coming in just to share a small part of that particular session. And it could also contain information of what are the techniques which are actually being used, which are actually getting enforced in this particular profile. And I think it will also talk about whether is this particular training does it have a certification? If the certification is there, is it really valid outside? And then how much the certification will cost? And
Yeah.
so those kind of essential things. It's basically to brand the entire training program. I think that
Yeah.
we should look at it. Maybe a training branding of the training we should look at it from that perspective, I guess.
Since we are discussing about program profiling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have to discuss about schedule for the program.
Yeah.
That
Title of
is
each session.
it's the second part of the same question.
Yeah.
The
No, I
first
know
part is
that.
program
That's what I'm
profile.
reading. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sorry guys. I just have to tell you that we have just another hardly a minute and a half for this particular session to get over. So I think I see just by doing the second half of this particular session, I've come to an understanding that I think each one of us has to do a little bit of homework. So that's when we have something to share.
Yeah, that's what even I was thinking. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the now after looking at the paper 6 first question, it was actually a very dry run and we didn't have much content.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to participate. So what we'll do is I think tomorrow what time everybody would be available, because at least we need a solid 1 hour. To actually just that is one paper, that is both the questions. We can try to finish it tomorrow. But if everybody can let me know what time it is, then I'll schedule and then I'll connect everybody. So
Guys, how does afternoon sound for everybody?
I'm totally available throughout the day because I'm working from home. So basically whenever I'm totally free. So whenever I need to attend, I'll just take time off and I'll come and be part of it. So
Yeah.
I would request you put it in the group.
no.
I mean, as of now, see,
Since everybody's here, we can just take about 2 seconds.
Prakash,
evening is okay, Prakash. I mean, evening anytime you can take.
Evening.
See, up in post fight anytime.
Okay, so ready, Spring?
tomorrow I'll be working from home only. Anytime I will be available, Prakash.
No, because my only concern is for Pratna, because baby needs to go to sleep. So we just need to support in that.
Yeah, after 7 o'clock, it becomes a little difficult for me. Maybe, and my husband keeps working till 5:36. So, I mean, his work is pretty much, he's not able to contribute much before 6.
So what?
So the baby is continuously with me. So this time, I mean, after 7:30, I'm more comfortable, or else after lunch